You know, and some people say, which I never heard, and I've sat with captains in my own family, that Paul was voted capo to tutti capo after Carlo died. Now, I don't know how true that was because I was privy to a lot of sit downs, but I definitely was never privy to a boss sit down
Right.
where they make a vote.
My argument is this. I can't believe that the majority of the family didn't like or wasn't behind the direction Paul was going in. What's wrong with getting into huge, big, legitimate businesses? You got all this money. Why not own the biggest concrete companies? Why not own, 200 car wash at a print money? Why? That was the direction he wanted to go in. And really, when this whole thing started 100 years ago, that was the game plan. It was a stepping stone to make the Italians at the time, who were having troubles, just like the Irish did, just like the Blacks did, everybody had their problems, where we could better things for our kids. I don't mean me, I'm way past that. But when it first started, it was a stepping stone. You didn't want your kids getting in this life. You did it so they didn't have to. It got so lucrative that everybody brought their kids in to protect themselves. If I go to jail, you take over. And it became,
Greedy.
Within a family.
They needed somebody that they could trust to watch all the money that they made. They thought it'd get taken away if they didn't bring somebody in. Like a lot of guys brought their nephews in, like how Teddy rose a lot quicker because Alley Boy went away, but then Teddy wound up doing so much time. But I think, listen, Larry, I think they all wanted to go in that direction. But the Gotti clan had a reputation for taking guys out and bodies disappearing. You got to remember, the Bananos were whacking guys. Go look at Sal was bringing the bodies to the Gambino family, and it was Gotti's crew that was getting rid of them. And then he had the arena side, which was the Ozone Park and Long Island side. Mm-hmm. He had all of these moving parts that were working in his favor. That maybe a guy like Joe Watts that was making $20 million a year was kind of like, yeah, I do want to go the direction Paul's going in, but what about this guy? And then we all know Daniel Marino never held back any punches to this day. Went against everything that John wanted. Didn't like the fact that he was at the sit down that Paul got whacked at. That he was the one that was called the Spark Steakhouse. He was one of the guys that was inside when Paul got hit that night, and he was all about that Wall Street, the parking garages, the cement companies, and so was Sammy. And the rest of the Manhattan guys were.
There were a lot of guys. That's what I'm saying. There's a smaller group, and they're the ones that were the vultures or the real killers that wanted to stay with drugs and all those street level things. Here, if I'm in the life and I become real successful, all right, and all this money I'm making in sports, I can open a great restaurant, or like I said, a string of car washes, or buy parking garages. Then I wouldn't mind my son staying with me and following me. He can run the funeral parlors, but it didn't get that way. If you were in drugs or Shylock and you brought your kid in to protect that, $5 million a year, $10 million a year, it's greed.
That just happened to be the crew that I was with. That's what they want.
My argument always was they killed Paul because he was trying to go legit.
Nah. It was the tapes. It was all about the tapes.
But a lot of people say that. That was John putting it out there. He forgot about guys. He wanted to be a businessman. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, let's not forget, even in your family, you got two guys that are straightened out that are probably worth about $100 million now.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip. This clip came from one of my interviews I did in the past. Please hit subscribe if you want to get more clips like this. Also, if you want to watch the full interview, I'll put a link in the description. Or you can hit the button on the screen to watch the full interview.